Hi students, I hope you all have gone through the first 3 chapters and the anecdote in the first block in your first year English text. Today I am going to discuss a very important chapter in the first block, that is a beautiful poem written by Joseph Rudyard Kipling. Joseph Rudyard Kipling was a very famous English poet, short story writer and novelist. He was born in Mumbai in India, and most of the students, Indians, have read a very beautiful work written by Joseph Rudyard Kipling, especially during their childhood days. Or we can say that we have grown up with that work of Joseph Rudyard Kipling. The title of that work is Jungle Book, and he has immortalized certain characters like Mowgli, Bagheera, Kaa, Chil, Balu, etc. This is a beautiful poem which speaks about certain qualities, certain traits that a student has to imbibe, a child has to imbibe to become a successful human being, to become a perfect human being, an ideal person. In the early chapters, we saw certain personality traits which help a person, a student, to become a successful person. In this chapter, in this poem, we come across the qualities of greatness, the qualities which make a human being great, which make a student, a child, a perfect human being. The poem can be perceived as a set of values that helps children to become perfect human beings. So it is a set of values, and that is one of the reasons why a very famous Indo-Anglian writer, Khushwant Singh, has rightly said, if is the essence of the message of the Gita in English. The poem is dedicated to Leander Starr Jameson, and it was written to his son, giving him pieces of advice which would help him to become a perfect human being. So the poem speaks about some of those virtues which help his son to become an ideal human being. The poem is in the form of contrasts. At first, the poet describes a poor choice of action, then he explains how a person has to act or react in an ideal way. How a person has to act or react in an ideal way, especially in moments of acute crisis. The first stanza of the poem speaks about some of the important traits, values or qualities that we have to imbibe, that we have to acquire, that we have to inculcate. The first stanza highlights the importance of keeping our self-composure even though the people around us are losing their self-control and they start blaming it on you. Never indulge in blame games. Never blame others, because blame games will never solve an issue. It may lead to hatred and conflict. So the first trait is self-control, and the second one, we should accept responsibility for our actions and choices. Never blame others. So blaming others is often considered as the easiest resort for a person to escape from a situation, to save his skin. The next important trait discussed in the first stanza is self-confidence. Even though others doubt you, even though others doubt your potential, you should never lose your belief, your trust in your abilities. You should never lose your self-confidence. Then some other traits of honesty, of magnanimity, of love. Even though others hate you, you should not hate others. Clearly speaks about the magnanimity that a person has to uphold in his life. The first stanza says that we should not deal in lies even though others speak lies about you, even though others lie about you. You should not hate others even though others hate you. So, two important traits, honesty and that philanthropic love. Love everyone around us, even though the people around you are infested with falsehood and hatred. They are infested with lies and hatred, but you should never tell lies or you should never hate others. Your character should not be mired by these lies and hatred. So, the first stanza speaks about traits like self-control, traits like magnanimity, large-heartedness, honesty. It also speaks about the importance of patience. We should not be tired by waiting. We should be patient. So that is also another trait which gets highlighted in the first stanza. Even though you scale heights in your life, even though you are a very successful person, even though you have all these wonderful traits, the stanza ends with that particular idea. The idea is that we should be modest, we should not talk too wise, or we should not look too good. We should be honest. The quality of being humble is also highlighted in the first stanza of the poem. So these are the traits discussed in the first stanza of the poem, If by Rudyard Kipling. The second stanza of the poem, If, also speaks about some of the traits of greatness, some of the qualities of greatness. The poet says, we should dream, but should not make dreams our master. Personification is used here. Dreams are personified as masters that control our lives. So here the poet says, we should not be controlled by dreams. We have to dream because dreams make our life worth living. Dreams are important, but every waking moment in our life should not be controlled by dreams. So this is another important quality of greatness. That means we have to enjoy the beautiful moments in our life. Those moments should not be controlled by, limited by, restricted by our dreams. Moving to the second line, he also speaks about a very important trait. We have to think at the same time. We should not make our thoughts, our ideas, our ideals, our aim. We should not make our ideals the aim. The reason is that our thoughts are, our ideas are, our ideals are just means to achieve our aim. So, ideas are very important, thoughts are very important, but putting all these ideals into practice is equally imperative. We have to put all these ideas or ideals or thoughts into practice. That is equally imperative. Some other ideas discussed in the second stanza. The two most resonant lines of this particular poem, if you can meet with the triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same. The two resonant lines of this poem, If by Rudyard Kipling. We should be in a position to meet triumph and disaster. We have to meet triumph and disaster with equal grace. They are considered as impostors by the poet because when there is a success, we tend to be complacent, we tend to be lazy, and we stop our hard work. And we may not be able to achieve our final objective, our final goal. The same is the case with the failures. When there is a failure, most of the people think that it is the end of life, everything is over. They may be dejected or they are in a state of despair. And this is the reason why the poet says triumph and disaster are to impostors, to fraudsters, to cheats. So a beautiful figure of speech is used here. The figure of speech used is personification. Success is personified as triumph and failure is personified as disaster. They are success and failure. They are personified as impostors or fraudsters. Another important trait of greatness is highlighted in that stanza. You should be able to bear the truth that you have spoken, twisted by knaves. You speak the truth, but unfortunately, that truth is twisted, is distorted by knaves, dishonest people to trap fools. It is an unbearable situation, but a great man will bear that unbearable situation. So this is another trait of greatness. And now we move on to the last two lines in the second stanza. The last two lines also speak about some qualities of greatness, some traits of greatness. You gave your life to build up your world. You gave your life to build up your dreams. You gave your life to build up your business, but unfortunately now you find that your business is shattered, your world is shattered, your dreams are shattered, your dreams are broken. But never give up. Never give up. You have to persevere. So that trait of greatness is discussed here, highlighted there, the quality of perseverance. Even though you have been exhausted, even though you have been tired out, even though your energy has been completely used up, even though your resources have been completely exhausted, you should never give up. You should stoop to conquer. You should bend forward to conquer with the worn out tools. Worn out tools, here that expression stands for completely exhausted resources. Your resources have been exhausted, your energy is completely used up, but never give up. With those exhausted resources, you have to continue your effort. So these are some of the beautiful traits of greatness discussed in the second stanza. The third stanza also speaks about some important traits that a person has to imbibe to become a great human being. The first two lines, when we go through the first two lines of the third stanza, an image comes to our mind, the image of a gambling table. Those two lines speak about the wealth that you earn at the gambling table, the wealth which is piled, which is heaped up on the gambling table. Throughout the day, you play gambling and you earn a lot of money, a lot of wealth. Gold coins are piled up on the gambling table. But before leaving the table, before leaving the gambling house, before leaving the casino, now you are trying to take a huge risk. You are out there to take that huge risk, forsaking the wealth that you have earned by turning the dice for the last one time. Now you realize that you have lost everything, but should not breathe a word about your loss. Go back to the beginnings and start again, everything with a regained vigor. You have lost everything, but should not breathe a word about your loss. This particular line speaks about, reminds you of another important proverb. The proverb is, don't cry over spilt milk. So whatever happens, you should never give up and you should never speak about your loss. Go back to the beginnings and start again, everything with a regained strength. With those worn out tools, try to muster up your resources, those worn out resources, and you have to go ahead. the worn out resources mentioned in the poem. The first one, the heart, seat of emotions. The second one, nerve, which clearly speaks about your brain or intelligence. And the last one, sinew, means your physical strength. So these are the prominent resources of a human being. Try to muster up all these resources and go back to the beginning, start again with a regained vigor or energy. So those lines clearly speak about that particular trait, perseverance. We should never give up. Whatever happens in our life, we should never give up. It also speaks about another important aspect. Even though we lose everything, the will says to you, hold on, keep going. So will is personified here. When we move on to the last stanza, some other important traits are highlighted. The first one, talk to the crowds. Here, crowd consists of all sorts of people. Crowd consists of good people, great human beings, and also scoundrels, villains, rascals, etc. All sorts of people can be seen in the crowd. Here the poet says, talk with the crowd. You should not be afraid of talking to the crowds. Talk to the crowds, but the most important thing is that you should not lose your virtue. You should not lose your goodness, even though you talk to scoundrels, even though you talk to villains, rascals, all sorts of people, you should never lose your goodness. And the next expression, walk with the kings. That means we may achieve greatness in our life. We may have good jobs, good status in the society, and we get that chance to walk with kings. Here, kings can be considered as a symbol. It symbolizes important people in the society. So walk with the kings means you get an opportunity to interact with, to socialize with important people in the society. At the same time, you should not lose your common touch. Common touch again symbolizes humility. So three powerful symbols are used there. One is crowd, which symbolizes ordinary people. The second one is king, which symbolizes the influential people in the society, important people in the society. And the last one, common touch, which symbolizes humility. We should not lose our humility. We should not lose our modesty, even though we walk with important people in the society, even though we socialize with important people in the society. Then the poet says, we should not be hurt by loving friends and also our foes. That means we should have a balanced mind. Even the actions of, the deeds of, the words of our friends, loving friends, should not hurt us. We expect such words and deeds from, hurting words and deeds from foes, enemies. But we should not be hurt by the hurting words and deeds of your friends as well as your foes. Two other striking lines in the poem which speak about the importance of time. Here the poet says, time does not wait for none. It reminds of that famous proverb, time and tide wait for none. Unforgiving minute, the expression used in the poem. Unforgiving minute means time which does not forgive anyone, time which does not wait for anyone. You have to spend the time fruitfully, effectively. Another important idea which gets highlighted in that stanza. Life is compared to a race in which every second is valuable, every second is precious. So we have to spend our time in a fruitful manner, in an effective manner. If you are able to acquire all these traits, my dear students, you will become perfect human beings. The world will be yours and you will be perfect human beings. So This is the gist of the poem If by Rudyard Kipling, a very famous poem written by the English poet Rudyard Kipling. That's all for the day. Thank you.